Today on Locked On Rockies, keeping it cool.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 19th day of April. I'm your Rockies fan extraordinaire, Paul Holden, bringing you your Locked On Rockies podcast for today. And on the docket for today, we're talking Chad Kuhl. We're keeping it cool over here on the Locked On Rockies podcast. Also, I'm going to talk a little bit about these left on base, these runners, these missed scoring opportunities for the Rockies, and of course, just a little bit of chat about the game in general and tonight's matchup as well. But I want to thank you for making Locked On Rockies your first listen of the day. We are free and streaming on your favorite streaming platform, and we're recording every podcast live on our YouTube channel. You can get in the live chat like so many great Rockies fans already have. I'm sure they're going to pop in here, and we'll get some fan questions throughout the show as well. So if you want to ask a question live while recording the pod, hop into the live chat and subscribe to that YouTube channel so that you never miss an episode when we go live. Also, on today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about not only Rockies baseball, but just kind of where we're at with the season, how we're feeling as fans. So I want to hear from you. If you have your thoughts, you want to get your hot takes on the Locked On Rockies podcast, you can do it when you join the live chat. So dive in here and join the show. Today, let's start with the big story of today of the Rockies. Chad Kuhl, really, really great start so far this season. In his second start, he gets the win last night, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, 1 walk on 4 strikeouts. This is incredibly important, at least so far for the Rockies' early success, to be able to get into to 7-3 to start the season off as good as you have, being able to lean on the fifth arm in the rotation and go out there and have a solid start, especially when you needed a bounce back game from your starters there in this game. That's really awesome. And I don't necessarily know until he gives us some reason that he shouldn't be the fifth starter. I think we're going to see Chad Kuhl as the starter for the Rockies in that situation. It'll be really interesting once the Rockies get Lambert and everyone back from the COVID stint that they have. But until that changes, we got to rely and got to be hopeful. I'm sure as the season goes on, as things change, things might be a little different, but it's impressive. The Rockies go out and get this arm to fill in, and he's done a great job over the last 2 years. And I'm curious because we're going to dive into an article here to help in this. I wonder how much Elias Diaz did play in this role, and let's do that now. Thomas Harding over on MLB.com. Kuhl and Diaz reunion proving beneficial for Rockies. For all the puns his last name generates, again, Thomas Harding, that is where we're reading from here. Thomas Harding's Kuhl and Diaz reunion proving beneficial for Rockies on MLB.com. For all the puns his last name generates, Rockies right-hander Chad Kuhl isn't always. It's just coming from my inner drive. I know I can get fired up, but I'm trying to do a better job. Rockies catcher Elias Diaz knows this as well. They worked together earlier in their careers with the Pirates, and Diaz lit up when the Rockies went to him for background before signing Kuhl to a 1-year, $3 million deal this spring. With Kuhl's drive and Diaz's ability to set a path to the strike zone, the reunion was fruitful Monday night. In his Coors Field debut, Kuhl held the Phillies to 2 hits in 6 innings of the Rockies' 4-1 victory. He's fun for me to catch, said Diaz, who stole an out for Kuhl with a back pick at first base to end the 4th inning. This was one of the best games I caught with him, too. When we were with the Pirates, he had some pretty games, too. He's going to be good. It takes Kuhl back to Pittsburgh when the two bonded after reaching the big leagues. He's so level-headed, and he's always got a smile on his face, but you know he's locked in. It was always a good relationship. The pair arrived in Denver at different places in their career, but they had the same goal: to complete their education and graduate to a new level. In Pittsburgh, Diaz, 31, debuted in 2016 and waited behind Francisco Cervelli until 2019. But after 101 plate appearances, 96 behind the plate, the Pirates non-tendered him. The Rockies signed Diaz, but he spent much of 2020 at the alternate spring training site working on his receiving. His playing time came in the final month. Then last season, he played well enough offensively and defensively to earn a 3-year, $14.5 million contract. Kuhl, 29, debuted with 14 starts in 2016, and except for missing 2019 because of Tommy John surgery on his right elbow, was part of the rotation until late last season. But after missing time last year with COVID-19, Kuhl finished the year in the bullpen where the Pirates wanted to keep him. Kuhl was not warm to the idea, and the club non-tendered him. So, that's just an insight into how important this relationship is, how important the pitcher-catcher relationship is, how that does have a role in what goes on with the in a game. A good, solid pitcher relationship and a good, solid identity, knowing that someone's going to be able to come in and make an impact. It just shows how valuable Elias Diaz has also been. These two have great starts to the season so far, and Diaz, since coming up and since breaking out last year, has been such an incredible addition for the Rockies. It's a position that we've waited so long to have someone that can make this much of an impact on the game as Elias Diaz does every single time that he takes the field. He's great on defense. He's great at locating pitches, and clearly by talking to his pitchers, especially like Kuhl here, he gets out and makes himself known and makes an impact. And that is so huge because we know we can get more from Kyle Freeland and Austin Gomber. We know we can get more from Senzatella, and we know Herman Marquez is going to be the ace. But if the Rockies are able to continue to get good production out of the fifth arm in the rotation from Kuhl, which also leads to benefited by a positive relationship with Diaz behind the dish. Maybe there is something about their synergy, their timing, their everything that allowed them to get that back pick yesterday, that Diaz is confident in the cadence and the rhythm of the game, that he's able to move and maneuver with someone he has that familiarity with and do things like that. On top of Diaz being able to already be comfortable and have caught a lot of these pitchers now for a bit. These two players, and honestly, all of the new faces for the Rockies and the more utility players and things of that nature, making impacts for the club are so important. It's such a big deal, and it's been key to the Rockies' success. We didn't know what we were going to get with Chad Kuhl. The Rockies are looking to replace a John Gray. The Rockies are looking to fill a spot in the rotation they didn't necessarily need to fill because they had the option there. But for Kuhl to come in and not only have good starts, but great starts and confidence and fire and drive and a will to compete, there is something to that. And there's something to the Rockies believing in their abilities, his abilities to still be a starter after the Pirates put him into the bullpen. The Rockies have made the moves so far are working. The new look Rockies are making an impact. 7-3 after 10 games, a series win against the Dodgers. 2 good starts from Kuhl, an opportunity for your other arms in your starting rotation to get better. Good performances from your bullpen, except for last night a little bit. But we'll take a quick pulse of everything. Dive into this question we got here from Abel Vargas as well. But before we do that, got to tell you about some of the great folks that makes this show happen, and that starts with BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting stats and sports info. Find all the latest sports development, league reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of the Major League Baseball season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. That's right, folks. Hop in during the Rockies game. Why not, place a little bet if you're feeling good about a Rocky. If you want to, put a little money to see if Brendan Rodgers is going to break out tonight. Why not? You can do it all at BetOnline. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action at betonline.net. That's BetOnline, where the game starts. Bel Vargas in the live chat here says, are the Rockies making the playoffs? Hot takes, Rockies are buyers at the deadline. Still way too early to tell. Still not enough games against the division, but there are things to be excited about. This is the start of the way you forge your way to the playoffs. Could the Rockies be buyers at the deadline? If this rate keeps up, they could be. I don't necessarily. They could be looking to add a bullpen arm. They could be looking to add some more defensive minded outfielder. But I can't. We can't get that far ahead of ourselves right now. We simply cannot on April 19th get start talking Rockies buyers at the deadline and playoffs already. Still way too much to go. And we know the Rockies have had hot starts before and where they've ended up. Now, the framework, the foundation, the plan, the things that are working, if those continue to work, yes, that path becomes more clear. Yes, that is something that you can start asking yourself maybe if the Rockies are above 500 after May, if the Rockies are around 500 in May. It all depends on. We're going to get real looks at the Rockies here when the Rockies get some nice division matchups. They're going to go against some of the best teams in the league, and we'll really see how this team is going to stack up. How will these new faces, how will these other players be able to come up and make impacts and help this team? If we're still going to, if Chad Kuhl and Elias Diaz and Jose Iglesias and Gerchek and they all contribute. They all do what they do, and the bullpen continues to be as strong as it is. You're hoping the bullpen's going to get even better when you're bringing back Stevenson and Rollison. But what are you doing about Lawrence? I mean, Lawrence might still need a little work on that control, but you're getting some solid stuff out of your bullpen, and you anticipate your bullpen to get better. Is that going to be enough? Is this sustainable? We're going to have to see. But the Rockies can keep piecing together and keep beating teams and keep taking advantage of long homestands like they have so far to start this season. They will be in a pretty good spot. But it is going to come down to the players that have already been contributing or continue to contribute. Players like Brendan Rodgers break out and they start hitting the ball. Rodgers, it wasn't pretty, but that double is the start. Same with that same with that the ball with the wild pitch for Rodgers at bat, where he ended up getting the walk and taking enough pitches, drawing the at bat enough to get the wild pitch. Stuff like that is going to impact Brendan Rodgers, and if he starts breaking out, the Rockies can continue to build on this early momentum. They should build on this early momentum. But they also are going to have to score. We can't sit here and ignore some bad warning signs from the Rockies as well. The Dodgers are not going to let you go 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position and get back into a game in the 6th and the 7th, nor the Giants with that starting rotation. If you're going up against the Giants and you have runners in scoring positions, you have to score. Their pitching staff is too good and they limit far too many opportunities. The Rockies cannot continue on this trend of being 0 for 8 and at points in games with runners in scoring position, 0 for 6, 0 for this, especially when we're seeing better approaches and the Rockies being able to get traffic and have good at-bats from people. You're hoping that gets eliminated with other players starting to come into it and start swinging it a little bit better. Charlie Blackmon being a prime example, hopefully, with him really heating up lately, getting the big home run last night. And after his slow start, he's really shown that he still can swing it and still has the ability to. But the biggest worry, the worrisome trends right now that we have to sit here and realize and reflect, even as the Rockies are 7-3, their starting pitching hasn't been as good as it can be and as it needs to be when it comes to Freeland and Gomber and a little bit of Senzatella as well. Senzatella has still been able to do what he does, get ground balls, get outs, but I'd like to see Senza start striking people out. I'd like to see Freeland get the gas in the tank and take over a game and dominate like we know how. And I would like Gomber to get his stuff back and his dominance at Coors Field back. But I believe more in that rotation ironing things out than the quick fix of scoring more runs. The Rockies are scoring. The Rockies are winning. Yes, they are proving to overcome these hurdles, but those are worrisome trends with how many runners on the Rockies are leaving. Certain teams are going to take advantage of that. Certain teams aren't going to allow you to be in games that late. Philly, with their approach of heavy offense, low defense, you're going to have that chance. Chicago being a team that's in, kind of the Rockies, where it's like they're on, they're off. They got a lot of interest in this and that, not really anything, not a ton of stuff that'll blow you away, but a lot of interesting pieces. you're not feeling good about the Rockies' long-term chances if San Diego, San Francisco, and LA roll into town and the Rockies are being held to 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Missed opportunities like that, the Rockies need to come up big. It's baseball, though. I mean, they're not going to get it. But give me some baseball numbers. I want 3 for 8 with runners in scoring position. I want 2 for 8. Give me at least something there. And it's easier said than done. Maybe I'm being a little too nitpicky, but I don't want to be completely blinded by the winning ball games, by the 7-3 start, and ignore the fact that the Rockies are not a perfect team. The Rockies have stuff that we need to be concerned about, and the lack of honestly just dominating some of these games that they could have with runners in scoring position, with some of the big hits in some of these big situations. The Rockies could be in a position where they have scored a lot more. They're scoring more. They're coming up bigger than they were last year, and what it feels like the last couple of years, sure. But again, my big main takeaway from this 0-8 with runners in scoring position isn't gonna cut it against LA. It isn't gonna cut it against San Francisco. Heck, you're probably not even gonna get 8 opportunities with runners in scoring position with the way the Giants are throwing or pitching and have the ability to pitch. That stuff matters. But we're seeing better approaches at the plate from people. We're seeing the Rockies get great production from utility, contact, get on base people. Connor Joe being in the leadoff and in the front of the order is so important. And it's been so key that the bottom of the order has been productive when it comes to hits, when it comes to Gerchek, Iglesias, when it comes to Hilliard when he's played, and those other Jonathan Daza has had a couple of hits and the impacts that he makes. This ever-rotating cast of Rockies, everyone contributing, everything and the machine working the way it is a great start. But there are some bumps, there are some hurdles that are going to get in the way and are going to lead to the Rockies dropping some tough ball games. Because which I would say we had a couple of in that Cubs series. Rockies should have won that series 3-1. I think the Rockies really, they with far too many missed opportunities. The Rockies should have really, dominated the Phillies last night. You can't miss your free opportunities. You can't miss out on that. You have to cash in. 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position isn't going to cut it against the best. But on the flip side, the Rockies are 7-3. The Rockies are scoring. The Rockies aren't getting shut out. Something we couldn't say last year. We have seen improvements, yes, in a lot of areas. There are a lot of things to enjoy and a lot of things to be pumped at by the Rockies start, and they continue to put together some solid ball games and get contributions from a lot of the new pieces. However, 0 for 8 in runners with scoring position, got to knock it off. Got to cut that out. However, a win's a win. Starting off the series with a W, with the fifth man in the rotation, keeping it cool. There's a lot to be there. It feels good right now. I want to feel good. I want to bask in it. I want to enjoy it. I want to celebrate good winning Rockies baseball, as we should, as you should, as it should. Be excited. Yes. Enjoy the start, enjoy the good baseball, but we can't ignore the warning signs, because there are some that are flashing. How will the Rockies make? Because there needs to be some adjustments being made as the season goes on when it comes to some of our starting pitching and runners in scoring position. But on the flip side, the moves the Rockies made in the offseason, the players that they've needed to contribute, almost all of them are starting to heat up and starting to contribute and starting to do what they can do. If Brendan Rodgers starts clicking, it's going to be a good stretch for the Rockies right now with the way people are batting. Strikeouts too. Rockies need to strike out less. Let's talk a little bit about Phillies series. Let's talk a little bit more about the game last night, and let's talk a little bit about the game tonight. But before we do that, got to tell you about our friends at rockauto.com. Folks, save time and money with rockauto.com. You don't need to go to the local auto parts store and have them just look up things on a computer for you. You can do that at home from your mobile device, from your computer, wherever you are. As long as you have access to the internet, you have access to all the car parts your car will ever need, and you're going to save 30%, 50%, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership. rockauto.com is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. And Rock Auto's prices are reliably low for every single customer. And you can go explore the easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right, Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box, so they knew that we sent you. Maybe write Locked On Rockies. I don't know if you want to be super specific. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. Rockies matching up with the Phillies here as they continue a strong start to the season, taking down the Phillies 4-1 last night. Big contributors there for the Rockies. Connor Joe gets a hit and a walk. Charlie Blackmon with a big home run. I mean, that ball was crushed. Also drew a walk. Really great night at the dish for Charlie Blackmon, going 1 for 2 with a walk and the RBI in the home run. Gurchik, I'm still working on that one. Goes 1 for 4 with a couple of RBIs. CJ Crone had a couple of hits, no RBIs, but did score. Ryan McMahon held hitless yesterday. Brendan Rodgers gets that double and that big walk. No hits for Diaz. Sam Hilliard comes in and contributes as well with a couple of hits and scores. Jose Iglesias picks up a hit going 1 for 3. Bullpen was really sharp. Really liked what we saw from Tyler Kinley. Sharp except for Carlos Estevez, unfortunately. Carlos Estevez was the weak point of the bullpen last night and got bailed out by a huge play from Chacin when he came in and not only got the out, but the double play on a hard hit line drive right back to him. One of those moments that makes you feel real alive. I'm sure on the when you're on the diamond. Rockies now tonight will turn to Kyle Freeland against the Rockies for a 6:40 start tonight. Let's see. And then, the big narrative around the Rockies, and the big thing, or not the Rockies, the Phillies, is that underperforming offense. I was worried coming into this series, and especially with the names you see on that Phillies lineup, especially in that outfield. It's the Phillies do have the ability to score runs. They just haven't done so yet. Rockies can get a series win tonight, shutting the door on that. That's going to feel real good, potentially leading up to the sweep when you got Marquez on the bump tomorrow for the day game. Should be an interesting one tonight. But yeah, you keep limiting that Phillies offense, Rockies are going to find themselves in another great situation to win today. Let's see more about the matchup here today. Dun, 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 dun. I hate when the websites I use don't work with me. All right, here we go. Found it. This is what we're looking for. Kyle Gibson taking the bump for the Phillies, 1-1, 3.09 ERA with 16 Ks. That's going to be something to watch there. If the Rockies are going to get beat tonight, they're probably going to get beat on the strikeouts there. Over 2 starts, 16 Ks, averaging, could be 8 Ks per. I'm not sure that's not his, but over the breakdown. 8 strikeouts, that's going to do some damage, especially if the Rockies are as swing heavy as they are sometimes. But part of the things with some early strikeouts, too, is we've seen some umpires with some questionable zones. I think everyone is still kind of getting back in the swing of things as well. But Rockies certainly in a position to win this one. If they get a nice start from Kyle Freeland, limit that offense, they put the ball in play, take advantage of that bad Phillies defense. Should be good. But Kyle Freeland is the player to watch tonight. 0-2 the 10 ERA, 7 strikeouts. How will he handle this third start of the season? Are we going to get a solid outing? Are we going to get Kyle Freeland with the control? Are we going to get Kyle Freeland with the stuff? Here's hoping that we do. It's critical. It's very, very important. This is a very important start for Kyle Freeland. I think he needs to really show us something here. He needs to show us that he's ready to lead this rotation. I mean, he's heading things up. He's the number one. I guess you could kind of move things anyway and make him the number 5 if you wanted to in terms of some things. But still, Kyle Freeland, need a big night from him, and the Rockies need to score runs and limit the strikeouts as they take on the Phillies, led by Kyle Gibson on the bump tonight. Folks, that's going to do for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for listening. Hey, now that you've listened to Locked On Rockies, why don't you go listen to the Locked On Now and the Locked On MLB podcast? You can stay up to date with everything you need in the world of Major League Baseball that isn't the Rockies, because we're your number one spot for the Rockies over here on the Locked On Rockies podcast. Really appreciate all your support and all you tuning in. Go subscribe to that YouTube channel. It is a massive, massive help to us here on the Locked On Rockies podcast. But we are free and streaming on your favorite streaming service, so you can take us wherever you go. And we thank you for making Locked On Rockies your first listen of the day. Dylan, thanks for tuning in. Abel, thanks for Abel. I don't remember if we went over your name, but thank you for the questions. Thank you for tuning in. And folks, until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the